Well, good morning, everybody. Thought I'd go through this this comment again from Led Zepp, best band ever, and it was a comment after my, in fact, it was my video, a recent retrospective of Steve and Brendan's case. So apologies not to Kathleen Zellner. Why is she the best? And as I say, when I first saw it, I thought, oh, Ken Kratz is back. And checked with a couple of people. They said, well, it's not really his style, but you never know, because he's quite cunning and he'll try and make it look as if he's a completely unrelated. And there's one or two tricks that they can do to do that. But point number one always with Ken Kratz is that the claim is that Steve tried to lure Teresa to the salvage yard. Point number one, he puts, Avery called her 3 times and used star 67 twice to hide his course. But then in statement number 2, Avery called her company and requested her to come over to his house. So, the one counteracts the other. The bottom line was, of course, that Teresa knew exactly where she was going. She was quite happy to go there. Now, her car was found on his property. Thomas Sarinsky has, signed an affidavit saying that he saw Bobby pushing the RAV4 onto the salvage yard. So there's a reason why the car was found on the Avery property, and that is because somebody put it there. Bobby Dassey and this unknown 50, 60-year-old guy, quite tall with a grey beard, who definitely did not want to be seen. Her bones were found on his property. Yeah, well, if you're going to frame somebody, that's a good way of doing it. Of course, I know a lot of you out there are saying, well, whose bones? We don't even know that they're Teresa's. We were just fobbed off by Pargle and Kratz. He said the FBI had confirmed it when they'd done no such thing. Now, this thing, Avery had drawings of a torture chamber in his cell. And the next one, witnesses said he was going to rape and torture a woman when he gets out. Yeah, jailhouse snitches. Not always the most reliable. Avery's blood was found on her ignition. Why wasn't it found in other places where he would have touched? Like, for example, the door handle, the steering wheel, yeah, the gear shift, all the places where there should have been blood and there weren't. Just selective drops. Also no fingerprints because he was wearing gloves. So how did he end up bleeding? Avery had a fresh cut on his right hand. Yeah, absolutely. He doesn't deny that. Nobody denies that. Doesn't prove anything. Avery wrote letters to 2 different women and threatened to kill them. I can only assume that the 2 that you were referring to were, first of all, when he was in jail the first time, wrongfully convicted, to his wife, Laurie, who, that was a one-off occasion. Now, there's no problem whatsoever. Obviously, his ex-wife, Laurie, is now married to Pete Dassey and has been happily married for a long time. And Pete is still friends with Stephen Avery. The other person I presume you're on about is, of course, Jodie Stokowski, a troubled soul. She kind of flip-flops all over the place. What we do know is that at certain times in Steve's life, Steve was incredibly fond of both Laurie and Jodie, and it would be fair to say that at various times in their lives, they were also very fond of Steve. Things are said in the heat of the moment. Two women producers left out evidence of guilt in the Netflix series. They admitted it. Again, this is a bit misleading. Not even being able to name Laura and Moira to make it look as if it's just some random guilter. This is what made me think it's Kratz, because it's kind of cunning. You be a little bit sort of unspecific in what you're saying, and that way you look as if you're somebody other than, being Kratz. They admitted it. The only the only thing that was pointed out after Making a Murderer Series 1 came out was this hoodlatch DNA. Now, everything that was mentioned by Kratz when Making a Murderer first came out has since been debunked by Kathleen Zellner, or more specifically by her experts. You don't mention, for example, the magic bullet. Why not? Because it's so embarrassing. You don't mention the key because it's the magic key that, as I said, only a crackerjack detective such as Andy Colburn was able to find this cleverly hidden key. And it's such an embarrassment. It's so obviously planted. It's such an embarrassment because it's so poorly done that, in fact, Ken Kratz at trial said, "Can you set this key aside?" Number 11, you can't fix stupid. Well, you never know. If you are just genuinely a guilter who, and I get it, people were told this horrendous story about Stephen Avery. So I get the fact that people think, there's no smoke without fire. He must have done it. And we're all here just trying to get him off on some sort of conspiracy theory. And I get the fact that people don't just think that Avery, Stephen and Brendan are guilty, but they've got this hatred towards them, which is quite obscene at times. But hopefully, once we get a new trial, then you'll see that, stupid can be fixed. Of course, whether or not the state would want to do a new trial is interesting. Just after the release of Making a Murderer Series 1, Brad Schimmel was on television saying that he'd spoken to the Holbach family and assured them that if necessary, they would go to retrial of Stephen Brendan. One wonders what evidence they would have once it's all been impeached and been shown by experts to be completely and utterly bogus. But anyway, finally, obviously, a lot of people have pointed out that, Led Zepp, best band ever. On Australians, they would naturally go for AC/DC. Me, being British, Supertramp, Genesis, Pink Floyd, and then somebody else threw another name in the mix, which of course is very important. That would be Iron Maiden. And I would say probably Motorhead as well. There's a lot of great bands out there. Anyway, I don't know if that was just a way of, as I say, trying to mislead us into thinking that it's some sort of guy that's into or person, shall I say, that's into heavy rock. Again, typical sort of Ken Kratz misdirection. So yeah, I'm not sure. But, it's definitely his style with the 10-point bulletins, all of which are completely false. And of course, one of the things that he doesn't mention was the fact that on the Thursday of Teresa being missing, when Stephen Avery was interviewed by reporters, he said that, as regards, Teresa being missing, he said, well, the grieving process could last days, weeks, years. Oh, no, sorry, no. If Stephen had said that, case over. Mike Holbach says it. Still waiting to hear any explanation. Because people said, oh, it was just a slip of the tongue. But as I say, if Steve or Brendan had said the grieving process could last X amount of time, that would be an admission of guilt. So anyway, and as for Ryan Hillegas not being investigated at all, definitely Ryan and Mike are involved in some sort of cover-up. Now, it might just be that Mike Holbach was told, look, we found your sister, I'm afraid she's met her demise. But they weren't investigating the case then, so how did he know that she'd met her demise? And as I say, a lot of people would say, well, not a lot of grieving going on, really. So, is Teresa really the one that was murdered, or was it Carmen Boutwell? A lot of things to answer. An evidentiary hearing would definitely help in this case, but of course the guiltists don't want an evidentiary hearing because they hate Steve and Brendan, and they keep saying, "Oh, you know, just out of respect for Teresa, you know, don't keep suggesting that there's something spurious about this case. You know, that's disrespectful to the family." I think what's disrespectful to the family, if Teresa really was the victim, would be to allow two innocent people to spend the rest of their lives in jail for something they didn't do. I think that would be disrespectful. Anyway, I'll be travelling back up to Scotland later on this evening, and I will, as promised, get back to that last part of the dude's chat with Professor Richard Leo. Anyway, as usual, post your comments down below. I think I managed to read most of them. As I say, it's the video called Retrospective of the Case, and it features a picture of Kathleen Zellner in the thumbnail. Okay, well, thanks for tuning in as usual, and we'll catch you all soon. Bye for now.